Hey everyone, welcome back and happy Thursday. All right, guys, so you know that today is the day of the Real Housewives of Miami. The new episode is out on Peacock now, which means Jason and I will be back tomorrow to mention it all. Obviously, we said in our last video that Salt Lake City is not going to be, well, it wasn't on this week, so we won't have a recap. And that's totally fine. I feel like we could use a break. And I feel like right now they are scrambling to figure out what exactly this reunion looks like. I heard that they bumped it from one part to now 2 or 3 parts. Everyone's wondering if the third part is the Jen Shah one-on-one. I talked to a cast member and they're like, I don't even know how we can have one part. So I'm just confused, but we'll see. I just hope it's not another lackluster reunion where we're trying to drag it out to a few parts. Especially if we don't need to. I think that's just going to look like one big joke. But we're not back to talk about that. We're back to talk about Savannah and Chrisley, who's questioning why Jen Shah got a shorter prison sentence than her parents, as Todd and Julie have officially reported to prison for tax fraud. All right, guys. So if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. And with that, let's jump right in.
It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
All right, guys. So apparently, as her parents, Todd and Julie, headed into federal prison to begin serving their time for tax evasion and bank fraud, Savannah Chrisley doesn't understand why the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Jen Shah wasn't given a harsher sentence. She doesn't get it. She doesn't know why. Why was she given a lesser sentence than her parents? But I think I can completely debunk this right away before we get into what she's saying, only because I feel like for Jen, since she decided to change her plea last minute before going to trial, she still pled guilty before wasting the court's time. And what happens is, if you listen to Joe Giudice or if you listen to any of the legal correspondents or former prosecutors, they say it takes a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of assets in order to go through a trial. So if you're going to waste the court's time, the court is going to take that into consideration if you are in fact found guilty by the jury. And for the Chrisleys, even though that they're planning on appealing this, that's exactly what happened. They were found guilty and they went through the whole trial process. So, and they still have not admitted to anything. They are still planning on fully appealing this decision. According to Savannah, her parents' crimes are nothing compared to Jen's, who had actual victims and preyed on the elderly in a national telemarketing scheme. Jen received 6.5 years in prison, while Todd and Julie received a combined 19 years. Todd will serve 12, while Julie will serve 7. Put the cases side by side, it makes no sense. It just doesn't. That's what Savannah claimed during a January episode of her Unlocked podcast. There were hundreds of victims who were elderly and people that provided statements that lost their homes, threatened to end their lives. There were so many different things, and she got 6.5 years. Make that make sense. And I totally get, listen, a lot of people, I even did a poll asking, who do you guys think should have gotten more time, Todd and Julie or Jen? The majority was in favor of Jen, and I can see where she would be completely upset, right? She feels like, my parents allegedly defrauded the government. They didn't allegedly defraud elderly people. So since there weren't a bunch of people involved and it was the government, that they should receive a lesser sentence. That's kind of, I think, where her head is. But she's also sitting on the part of it that says, oh, okay, my parents are still completely saying that they're innocent and that they're going to appeal this decision. She's a daughter who wants her parents not to go to prison. We get that. The Chrisley Knows Best star went on to explain that Jen is unequivocally guilty and admitted to her crimes in open court. However, what infuriates her is that Todd and Julie have never once wavered from their declarations of innocence, and she alleges that they have been unfairly made an example of. You have someone who has not admitted to guilt and who will stand firm in that. We're standing by our truth, and that is not guilty, and there are no victims. But I think what Savannah's missing here is, because they are standing in their truth, which is we are not guilty, and the government feels like they have mounting evidence, that's where it goes back to the whole thing that I mentioned at the very beginning of this, is the court might be looking at Todd and Julie Chrisley like, you are wasting our time. That's what Joe Giudice said on Namaste Bitches, the podcast with Melissa Feaster and Teresa Giudice, when he was telling Teresa, listen, they would have gotten sentences just like us had they have just pled guilty. But since they didn't, they might be getting made an example out of. But also, you're pissing off the court, because the court's like, hey, hold on, we have a shit ton of evidence over here. Even though you're saying you're not guilty, how do you explain all of this? And they're like, still not guilty, and we will appeal this. Julie also appeared in the pre-recorded episode and claims that there is more to her and Todd's situation than is being let on. And she has committed herself to getting to the bottom of it, even as she heads to prison. None of it adds up, and to me, there's more to it. I have committed myself to figuring out what it is and for us to get to the other side of this so that we can help other people who are going through things like this. So they're pretty much taking the route of, on the other side of this, after our combined 19 years in prison, 12 and 7, we are going to come out and we're going to help people who are going through similar situations such as us. However, I also kind of agree with the sense or the fact that, and I don't know if it's a fact or not, but when you have celebrities who are facing prison time, who are getting in trouble for doing or allegedly committing crimes, I feel like it would make sense that the government, even though it's not fair, that people would make an example out of them, because we're watching it. We're watching it all over Radar Online, all over Page 6, all over every single major media outlet. People are talking about it, and then you're seeing it on the news. And I think that this might be one big message from the court system to say, oh, you think just because they're celebrities that they're going to get away with whatever they allegedly did? We're going to make an example and show you, if you think you can get away with this, if we're giving them this time, what time do you think you're going to get? That's how it's coming off to me. The episode of the podcast was released hours before Todd and Julie reported to their respective prison institutions to begin their sentences on Tuesday, January 17th. So they've officially been in prison now for 2 days. Just days ago, a judge denied the couple's motion for bail and to extend their surrender date by 21 days. Todd will be serving his 12-year bid at Federal Prison Camp Pensacola in Florida, and Julie will serve hers at Federal FMC in Lexington, Kentucky. In a last-minute change, originally Julie was set to spend her sentence at Marianna, Florida, just 2 hours away from Todd, but no reason has been given for the change. Todd and Julie have plans to appeal their convictions, but will it happen? Guys, I want to hear what your thoughts are. Go ahead and comment below. Let us know what you think. Obviously, this hits a little bit closer to home for Savannah, as they are her parents. But she does feel like her parents are being treated the wrong way, and she feels like it's not a fair situation when she's comparing her parents' situation side by side with Jen Shahs. So go ahead and comment below. If you guys want to vote in the poll, you can go over to the community tab for Hot Messy Podcast YouTube channel. We have a lot of other content coming out. This is it's mid to end January, and we are about to shit up. So I cannot wait. Go ahead and comment below, smash that like button, get subscribed, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you so very soon. Bye, guys.